Welcome back to Lifting the Lid. I'm very pleased to be back. Although I'm not going to lie, guys. I actually sleep quite badly before we record these episodes.
Do you?
Yeah. I toss and turn. And I think about like all the things that we could talk about. And it actually makes me overwhelmed because I feel like there is so much ground that we could cover that I just can't even I just can't sleep thinking about it.
Wow.
I feel like this podcast is your baby. It's really cute.
You guys are like, yeah, not the same for us.
Like, I love the podcast, but it's not giving me sleepless nights.
Yeah. I slept like a log last night. So.
You know what? I'm pleased about that. What annoys me is I always think, like, you know, when you're like having a sleepless night, which I do regularly, I always think about all the amazing things that like we could discuss, and then like we actually we just don't discuss them.
I feel like you need to get a notebook by your bed, and when you have these moments, because I think you think about everything about the business at 4 a.m.
That is exactly what I do.
And you need to just write it down.
Like, notes out.
I do that, but like sometimes I'll like lucid dream about it all. So I'll be like up and it'll just all be going on, and I'll just, it'll be a bit much. But I'm glad that you guys slept well.
Yeah. I had a lovely sleep.
Thank you. It's up early though, so.
Yeah, very early.
Well, I mean, up early for us. I feel like
I was up early.
I
I
was
went
up
to the gym before that.
Me too.
Okay, fair enough.
I was up at 6.
Health Queens.
Boom.
Love that
you
for you
didn't
guys.
move your arm.
I know, it's because I got a bit nervous.
1, 2, 3.
Why? I don't like.
You guys need to be more in
Clapping.
time.
You're the one that went for the high five.
Woo! Wow, that was aggressive.
That was
That
good.
looked like it hurt. I have a present for you. Seran, not Lucy.
Oh.
A bit tight.
What is it?
Favorite child. Oh.
It is a signed copy of How to Be You by Ellie
Oh my
Middleton.
gosh! Thank you so much, Ellie. If you're
Signed
watching. Thank
by...
you.
You have to read the message.
Oh. Thank you. There's no like not awkward way to read something
No.
someone's given you, but this is so cute. I could, for context, I couldn't go to Ellie's book launch
Because she was on annual leave.
Yes, I was in España. So this is so nice, and I was very sad to miss it, but I can't believe I'm holding this in real life because I've seen so many pictures of this, and it's amazing.
We were very sad that you weren't able to be there. Like lots of our creators came. Ellie was obviously there. Ellie's book team at Penguin, her publicist Charlotte from Bell PR, who is the best. Obviously Team TBH, Jake from $1 Billion Boy, because we held at the $1 Billion Boy offices.
The team at Candid.
Yes.
We're there with the photo booth. We love the team at Candid.
Actually, I think this is a good thing for us to talk about. So Candid Studios, because I think it'll be really relevant for most people listening to this podcast, whether you need to get headshots, whether because you're a creator, or for socials, or even if you need to get like a LinkedIn photo.
Yeah.
Because we all got our LinkedIn headshots at Candid. They're so reasonable. You're able to self-shoot, so you can make sure you're happy with how you look. And let's be honest, gone are the days when you get those. I mean, you guys probably never had this, but when you get those horrible corporate headshots,
I had that,
they like make you stand there really awkwardly, and you have to like, you get like 2 shots, and then you don't get a choice about like it, and then that's just your headshot, and you're like, I hate that.
And also, it's just nicer, isn't it? Because like when we went, I was like, oh my god, like I would have hated the thought of like having a photographer that I didn't know take pictures of me. Like I don't know, like I'm just like over that. Like it just gave me the ick. So it was nice to just be able to like do it yourself.
Yeah, it was just such a good group of people at the event, and loads of really positive people doing incredible things in all different parts of the industry coming together to celebrate someone as amazing as Ellie and celebrate this insane achievement. Because am I right in saying, obviously I don't work on Ellie's team, but this is her second book within 2 years?
Yeah,
less than 2 years.
When we first signed Ellie, which is coming up to a year, she was just releasing Unmasked, or she just had released it.
Yeah.
So this woman is incredible. Like how hard she works, and like the fact that she juggles content creation and writing books is insane.
And the rest, like running the Unmasked community. She is a multifaceted queen.
I was literally about to say those exact words. She really is.
So her first book was about like her diagnosis.
Yeah.
And this book is about how to be you and how to like find yourself within your own diagnosis.
She talks about 8 executive functions that neurodivergent people struggle with, and shares 5 simple tips for readers to try out.
And I like the way Ellie spoke about it at the event. She said it's not necessarily a book that you need to sit down today and read within a week. It's very much a book where you can read a little bit today, and then if in 2 weeks' time you're struggling, like you'll maybe dip back in and find another tip and find another trick. And she said you can't implement, I think, is there like 54 different things within the book or something around that number. She said there's no way you can implement all of those things in your life in one go. Like, that's quite literally impossible. And it's about just taking the ones that work for you and swapping them in and out, and almost, I think she said, using it like a toolbox. And I thought that was such a good way to put it.
They also had badges, which it would say like, I'm a hugger, or like, no, don't, like, I don't like to be touched, or that sort of thing, just to like allow everyone to be able to like communicate as easily as they can. And like, I loved that. I thought that was such a nice touch. Like, I would like love to implement that at events that we do. Like, I think it's a great thing to do. The badges were cute, and they were something that she explained that it was something they do at their unmasked events. So yeah, I feel like Ellie is just the perfect example of diversifying outside of just brand deals, and like using your expertise and your niche to be able to do that, and positioning yourself as an expert in the space. This week we actually had a really interesting call with Genflow. So I've always worked with Genflow because Grace does Shreddy or created Shreddy with them. So I've always been aware of Genflow, and I've always kind of come into contact with them because I know lots of creators who run their brands via Genflow. So Genflow is essentially like a third-party company that create talent brands. I was about to say I'm pretty sure that Filter by Molly May was created by them, but actually I tell a lie, it wasn't them. It was another version of them called Catalyst. Essentially, many, like all those years ago, when talent brands, or like there was kind of like a trend and a rise of creators creating their own brands, there were kind of lots of agencies that popped up that were catering to talent who wanted to start their own brands, and they'd offer all those sorts of services like branding, fulfillment, product, and they'd bring it all together in a kind of one-size-fits-all talent package, which would either involve talent giving away equity to the brand, or it would involve some sort of profit split. And lots of them came about, and actually lots of them have dissolved or not continued for whatever reason, because shock horror, talent brands are actually pretty hard to do and do successfully. So like, well done to the creators who have managed to do that. Obviously, like Grace. Another one I was actually thinking of, because I did a TikTok on talent brands that have not been so successful, and why that is. I think there is a real expectation that just because you're a creator, you can create a brand, but that isn't true. Like, you need to have a really captive market, and you also need to still think about the product in the same way that you would if you were literally just an entrepreneur setting up, because that product still needs to solve a problem. And if you're going to reach outside of your audience, or your captive audience, which is obviously a great starting point, you need to have a product that will work outside of your captive audience. And I think that is where, for me, I find it really exciting, where Genflow are obviously a great option, but I also think that where creators are finding entrepreneurs who have experience in making these businesses happen, and then giving them skin in the game of their brands, I think that's a really, really clever way of doing it. So, for example, REFY. I feel like the meeting of Jenna Meek, who had obviously founded, I think she called it Shrine in the end, and then she met Jess Hunt, and they came up with a product that actually was solving a problem, in that obviously like that laminated brow effect was like going off, and they combined their expertise, Jess in terms of like visuals, aesthetic, socials, and Jenna in terms of like, I actually know how to run a business, I can do the P&L, I can do the fulfillment, I have relationships with factories, I can build out product, I've done this all before, I have team, I have capital probably because of her previous brand. And I think that works so well because everyone's working towards the same goal. Whereas sometimes when a talent creates a brand with a third party, everyone's just trying to pull profit out of the business.
When you look at like talent brands from an outside perspective and see how they've changed over the years, like the first lot of talent brands I remember ever seeing was your Zoella Beauties, your Tanya Burr Cosmetics, like, but then you had Real Techniques, who in some way were a creator brand, but not in the way that your Tanya Burr Cosmetics and Zoella Beauty were. And I think we tend to see that the creators' brands that have longevity are the ones that don't rely on their name, if that makes sense. Like, one that I think is a bit of a anomaly is Trini London, and obviously all of her makeup has been so successful, and it is still, I guess, reliant on her name because it is the name of the brand, but has then since as well expanded past her audience. And I just think it's interesting how it's often the brands that aren't actually related to the creator's actual name that seem to have the most long-term success.
Yeah, agree. And I think that's because I guess Trini doesn't actually kind of feel like a name in a way. So maybe that's like, I don't know.
I guess she's a name in a different way.
Yeah. I also think that particular brand is so successful because it actually is serving a market that really had no one talking to it, in the same way that we are like, we have brands thrown in our face every day because there's so many. Like our age group, obviously I'm a different age group to you, but it's like so oversaturated in terms of that. Whereas like my mum's age group, which Trini is talking to, she has no one to choose from, particularly not like not a creator first or human first brand.
Yeah.
So I think that's where Trini has done so well.
I feel like as a consumer, you could really easily feel very overwhelmed. Like what you were saying, especially for our age group, Gen Z especially, I feel like there are so many creators, even celebrities like beyond the creator realm, right? Like your Hailey Biebers, your Selena Gomez, like especially in the beauty industry, there are so many brands and it can feel like a lot. But I think you're right, Verity, in the sense that it's those brands like REFY, like they obviously started with that eyebrow product that went viral. And now everyone's obsessed with their lip liners, their primers. They've expanded into a really well-respected brand. Like I was in Selfridges and I was actually at the REFY counter and I was like, this is so cool that this was started by a creator. And it was right next door to like where Kylie Cosmetics was. And I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. And I think the reason it's worked so well is because Jenna Meek, she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows how to run those processes and she is incentivized to make it happen. Whereas I think I actually think Genflow do an incredible job and they like sometimes structure deals. So they are incentivized. I actually don't know the exact commercials of how that all works. So I'm not going to pretend that I do, but some like it obviously is different for every creator. But like, I think sometimes that is why I would potentially lean towards finding an entrepreneur who'd done it before if my creators wanted to start a brand now. Interesting you talk about Pixie Woo because I really remember that being such a pinnacle part of my time at Gleam because it was such a unique partnership in that like obviously it wasn't your kind of typical partnership or typical creator brand where a creator will be like, I want to start a brand and then we'll work with third parties or work with an entrepreneur or whatever. They came together with a company that had already been formed and created a partnership with them. And I feel like that deal was so ahead of its time. Yeah. And that deal was also way before all of the big trend around creators starting their own brands. As they are kind of the OG creators, it makes sense really that they would have done it first.
I also feel at the time I didn't actually even watch Pixie Woo. I just heard everyone talking about Real Techniques and I actually think I knew about Real Techniques and it led me to Pixie Woo. So I wonder how many people actually went that way.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember watching Pixie Woo before. I used to be obsessed with Pixie Woo and Tanya Burr's makeup videos with Millie McIntosh.
Yes.
Do you remember?
No.
I do.
And also, have you seen her house tour?
No, I haven't watched it, but I really want to.
Tanya Burr's?
Yeah,
I've started watching it. I need to properly get into that.
I enjoyed that.
I've been too busy with Vlogust while we're on the topic of OG Brit Crew creators because Seran and I talk about Brit Crew almost every episode.
You do.
We love them.
But I hate this because I also haven't watched Vloggers. I have actually, I did watch
a couple.
You're missing out.
I did watch one of Alfie Day's vlogs the other day, which really like hooked me in with the boy names that we wouldn't use.
What were they? Do you remember?
I've forgotten them.
Oh, no, you have to watch Vlogust. It is 31 days of pure joy, family happiness and nostalgia. And I'm obsessed. And I'm now on Zoella's Vlogust side of TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
And all the girlies, like, have you seen the videos of being like, I'm a 25-year-old getting into my bed at 8 p.m. to find out if a 3-year-old's excited about her birthday trip to the Isle of Wight.
Literally.
That's me.
I haven't watched all the episodes of Vlogust, but I am also weirdly on that side of TikTok. So I feel like I've seen a lot of the clips.
So I'm on that side of TikTok and I've not watched any of Vloggers. Like, why? But also love that she's leaning, like, Vloggers. Like, love that from her. Like,
and they're doing
yeah,
Vlogmas this year as well.
That's fun.
I know, because Ottilie's birthday is in August, which is why they vlog August, and then Novi's birthday is in December. So
Why
they're
do you
gonna vlog
literally
December.
sound like you're like family friends with them?
I am. I love, like, I just find it incredible that, like, I have honestly watched Zoe Sugg since I was 13 years old. I am now 25 and I am still as invested in her content and still relate to her so well, which I just think is such a testament to what she does. And we were actually speaking earlier about her Lizelle partnership in Vlogust, and that is the most incredible example of a creator having longevity in the space and a brand like seeing that and recognizing the true value that they have added.
It's crazy that it's taken this long for them to work together. I don't know if they've worked together on a paid basis before.
I don't know.
But like you can, I saw, I think, a post on LinkedIn and it was showing loads of different screenshots of her over the years talking about the cleanse and polish. And I was like, that is insane. Like literally from her first background in her bedroom when she lived with her parents, and then another clip of her flat with Alfie, and then another clip of her in her house with her kids, all holding this product. And I was like, that is genius. Aww. And I just feel like it's such a testament to brands kind of tapping into those organic mentions and working with creators that really do kind of organically love their products.
So the screenshots you're talking about is actually in the Vlogust episode. So she says, like, this section of the vlog is sponsored by Lizelle. And then she says, I have obviously been on YouTube for a really long time and have spoken about Lizelle Cleanse and Polish more than you can like imagine. And then she actually inserted loads of clips from over the years, from favorites videos, from empties videos, and that's where all those screenshots have come from. And I just think it was the most organic partnership I've ever seen.
That's so good. That definitely must be the first time they're working together then.
I don't know, but I really want to know what they paid her.
A lot, but worth it.
100%.
Yeah,
and it makes
like
sense.
the impact that Zoe can have is just crazy.
Yeah. And I feel like cleanse and polish as well. Like I remember the first time she mentioned that in a video, and I remember being like, whoa, that's like I would have been
I bought
13.
it because of her.
Okay, well, we're on different budgets, but when I was 13 I couldn't afford a cleanse and polish, but I remember thinking to myself, that's such a fancy product, and me and my friends would always like go to Boots or wherever it was, and we'd be like, oh my gosh, like one day we're gonna be able to buy that.
And it would come with the little claw.
But it just shows, doesn't it? It's like she was like in her 20s and now she's still using it. Like it's a classic.
Yeah, it is an absolute classic. I remember when one of my creators had that gifted to them at Gleam, and they were like, do you want this? And I was like, yes.
Oh my gosh, that's unreal.
It was so nice. Talking of talent, like of talent very kindly giving us things.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like little gamuts, like when our talent, like, I've got too many things, like, do you want some of them? I'm like, yes.
And I'm like, yes, please.
I love you, thank you. I have this really weird thing where I like really need to like finish every single product, like right down to the bottom, even like literally everything. And I finished Michelle gave us a Barbie shampoo in March, and I finished it this morning.
Love that for you.
Love
Such
that.
a sustainable
that's
queen.
really good, Verity. You shouldn't think that's weird. That's good.
Yeah.
It's good for the planet.
I love seeing creators being generous with the gifting that they get. Not just necessarily for my own gain, but I think when they give back to their audiences. For example, I was watching Saffron Barker's vlog the other day, and she was saying that she was putting together some boxes of PR that she had, like duplicates of stuff or whatever, and was sending it out to people in her broadcast channel on Instagram. And I think that's such a nice way for creators to give back to their audience. I mean, obviously they've not purchased the products in that sense, but rather than them just sitting in a drawer and gathering dust. And I'm also sure the brand would rather those products be in the hands of consumers that might then go out and repurchase them.
This actually has just reminded me, have you guys seen, so I saw this LinkedIn post and somebody was talking about how, I think they worked for a brand and I can't remember which brand it was, but they'd seen the creator they gifted had literally, like the day after it arrived with them, put it on Vinted.
No. Oh.
Surely that's illegal.
Oh, okay.
It must be.
Lock them out.
I'm not going to lie. Pre-TBH, I have had this problem with the Sonia.
I think I know which Sonia.
A non-TBH Sonia.
Yeah.
I know what Sonia.
Oh,
Oh, that wasn't who I was
Definitely.
thinking. Okay.
and it was really awkward.
That is tight.
It's not on. Like, why did you accept the gifting in the first place?
It's not good. I shall say no more on that. Like,
Can you just say who it is?
Oh,
no.
we were both wrong. I thought it was me.
Oh, really? No, she's really good at declining gifting.
So what happened? Like, did the brand
Spotted it.
say
The
something?
brand saw it and messaged me like, do you mind, like, they were like, Sonia has like put all of the gifting that we'd given her on her recycling vintage clothes platform.
That is
Give
so
it to
embarrassing.
charity. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to
Yeah.
give it away, give it to charity. Respectfully, that person is making enough cash.
It wasn't like expensive product.
That literally makes it worse to me.
That is scandalous, and I think that should be illegal.
Well, I think illegal's a bit dramatic.
It should low-key be like not an ASA thing, but something should be done.
You should not be able to make money on something you've been given for free.
I
Yeah.
think like what's tricky is like where talent don't accept the gifting. So when we were at Gleam, obviously we had PO boxes, so talent like would just receive things, and then that's a little bit more tricky. And honestly, the amount of waste, guys, it was absurd.
And I feel in those days the PR boxes were so extravagant.
Yeah.
There was like lights and mirrors and things popping out and music, whereas now brands are more mindful
Yes.
about packaging and recycling and not being crazy.
Yeah,
is good.
completely agree. I remember like things would come in like fake surfboards and like big massive balloons which like popped out with like but they'd come into the office and like we'd accept them. So we'd be like, I guess not really hitting your target audience here, so sorry guys, like you're probably really disappointed that I'm the person who's accepting this balloon. And then we'd remove it from all the packaging and put it in their little boxes because they'd each have their own like PO box.
Oh, so they never even saw the packaging?
No. And then the talent would come in, get their box, empty it onto the table, and then basically they'd look through what they wanted, they'd take what they wanted in their bags, and then they'd leave all of the rest of the stuff on the table, and the Gleam team would just go up and take what they wanted.
It's just a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
I think
But
we need
now-
to get that kind of set up in the new office.
Post COVID. Yeah, but guys, then you have to be on PO box duty, and nobody wanted that because
Yeah,
it meant
true.
sitting in the PO box room for hours and like dissecting parcels and putting them in each individual person's thing. So that wasn't great. I feel like COVID had a really good impact in terms of encouraging brands to think a little bit more sustainably. And also, talent don't accept everything. Like, it's really important to us that we give talent the option as to whether they want to accept the gifting or not, because if they don't want it, they shouldn't have to have it.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it just makes sense to the brand as well. Like, if I work for a brand, I wouldn't want to send something to somebody who's never going to post it, who's never going to use it, and it's just a waste on both
waste of
sides.
money.
Yeah, it's going to put it on Vinted the next day.
That is scandalous.
Bad
I
form.
can't believe that.
Okay, as ever, we get through about one question when we do these questions, but I think we have time for one.
One little one.
A little teeny one.
Manage expectations.
Let's go pitter-patter, pitter-patter.
Okay, this is a cute one. Who would you love to manage the ultimate signing for you?
Are we talking about they can be managed by someone else right now? Like, we're not poaching them. This is just hypothetical.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you guys know what mine's going to be.
Sophia and Cinzia.
Yeah. I'm such a girls' bathroom girly. Like, I just love them. Like, I love their content. I think they just seem like such a vibe. They're going on tour right now and their content is just amazing. And they're doing these really cool TikToks. I just think they'd be so much fun to work with, and they'd work with really cool brands. So that was easy for me.
And they would fit on the roster. I can see the vibe.
Yeah.
They would.
All right, Poachy.
Sophia and
It's giving
Cinzia?
pink. It's giving pink.
I feel overwhelmed by the choice out there. There's so many creators.
Yeah, there is a lot.
I don't have like one number one.
Zoella.
Well, yeah,
Come
obviously.
on. Shoot high.
Obviously.
Shoot your shot, girl.
Zoella. But apart from Zoella, I do love Zoe Haig. I mean, Molly May would be iconic.
Yeah.
Zoe Haig. Let me just have a quick look on my YouTube subscription box. Verity, do you want to go?
Probably Stephen Bartlett.
But your relationship
are
won't be
so
able to turn
right.
personal then, Verity. If you cross that line, you won't be able to have a romantic relationship. So, if as soon as you work together on a professional level, it's just not going to happen. I just want to remind you of that.
Oh yeah, maybe we can't then.
For context, guys, Verity really fancies Stephen Bartlett.
And it is her biggest red flag.
And I'll never let her forget, ever.
I don't know if this is actually okay. Like,
I think it is.
Okay.
We won't tell Elliot.
I said this one time. I was like, oh, actually, like, he's a very business minded.
Verity.
He is incredibly successful. He seems like a very good listener
Just
in his
justify
podcast.
You can justify it to yourself as much as you want, but to me, I don't understand.
Ever since I said this, so I said it once in passing, And Seran now basically says that every time, like her and James, wait, is it? No, you see him on Dragon's Den.
On Dragon's Den. So me and my boyfriend James watched Dragon's Den, and every time we watch it, I obviously told James that Verity fancied Stephen Bartlett, and every time we watch it, James goes, "Oh gosh, I don't understand." He's always like, "I'm judging Verity so much," and I'm like, "Same."
Oh God. Yeah, no, it's not true, really, guys. It's just a lot's changed since that moment.
Yeah. But actually, who would you manage him? Is that the dream?
No, probably not. Although I like that he does have something to say and he's doing something a bit different. So I find that fun. I don't know why, but I feel like creators who are like, maybe have been creators for like a long, long period of time make me feel less excited.
I know what you mean.
I get you.
Just because I like doing the like growth, and then you can be with them for the books, the live shows, the podcasts, and all of those things. So I wouldn't say there's anyone that like screams
I have a bit of a rogue choice, and is this my number one in the whole world? I don't know, but one that's just come to mind is I feel like Sam Thompson has so much potential as a creator. I rate his content. It's really funny. His podcast with Pete is great. And I just feel there is a lot of like commercial potential for brands there. And he did an ad the other day for, it was an ice cream brand. I want to say it was Solero. It was like a TV ad. It was incredible. And I just think I love seeing creators doing things a bit differently. Like he's really like springboarded off of his success on Made in Chelsea and done something cool and different. I just rate his content. It's really good.
This is actually a really small creator, so this is quite random of me to say this. Kate Park, is that her name?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know.
The engagement she gets is unreal, and I just think she's cool. Yes. And I just think like she's got something to say. She's cool. She's in a growth stage. I love that. Like she's got 6,000 followers, and all of us follow her.
Kate, hit us up.
Yeah, Kate, if you're looking for management, we're here.
On the subject of shooting a shot, I am obsessed with, and I think I've told you guys about her. You remember Danielle Collins, the Irish girl?
Irish, yeah.
With? Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, Danielle, if you're listening to this, I am obsessed with her content. I think she's so cool. She went viral through doing like, you know the song Babylon?
Yeah.
And she basically just started like making TikTok videos to that. And then from there has just like blown up. She was on Bare by Vogue's brand trip a couple weeks ago. Like she went to a festival with Primark. Like she's really like doing really cool stuff. And I just think she's such a vibe. And I'm obsessed with her Get Ready With Me's. And she does like eating a Thai takeaway when I'm hungover content. And I'm just like, that is
so niche.
That's the kind of girl I can get behind, you know?
Love it.
Guys, we have been yapping. And we've left ourselves no time for a listener dilemma, which is quite sad because we had a good one, but maybe we can do 2 next week instead.
Yeah.
If that is good. Something that the people enjoy. Listeners, tell us if you would like 2 next week in the comments. But otherwise, what have we learned today?
I don't know, my mind just went blank.
We love Zoella's Vlogust, and Lazelle and Zoe Sugg is the best partnership we've ever seen because it's been a long time coming.
We sign creators in their growth stages. That's what gets us excited. We want to help you diversify from just brand deals.
Verity fancy Stephen Bartlett.
No, but that's not a new learning, but just something that we wanted to say again.
Right, I think that's enough. Thank you for listening to this episode of Lifting the Lid. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to follow us on all of our socials at TBH Talent.
And you can also find us on YouTube. Just search Lifting the Lid or TBH Talent.
Bye.
Bye.